So today I'm going to be looking at this camera that I purchased. I paid $130 for this camera along with two lenses and a bag for them. This is the Canon T3i. This camera is probably one of the most classic cameras on YouTube, as it's very, very popular for vlogging. And today I'm going to be taking a look at it. This camera was released in 2011 and features a 18 megapixel sensor with a maximum photo resolution of 5184 by 3456. So it can take pretty good pictures. It was revolutionary for the time, and today it actually still holds up pretty well. So let's just take a quick overview of the camera itself. So right here we have our release switch for our lenses. I'm not going to take this off right now just because I want to test it in a second. Right here we actually do have an external microphone jack, so you can plug in another microphone rather than using the camera's built-in one. Right here we have a USB port as well as a micro HDMI port. The HDMI port can actually break out into a full-size HDMI, and what you can do is you can either make this go to an external monitor, or you can actually put this onto a capture card and use it to record as a very high-quality webcam if you want to do that. So that's what those are. Flipping it around here, we actually have a flip-out LCD screen. You can actually turn this to the front so you can see it if you are pointing it at yourself. Very nice, useful feature there. We do have a included strap for your holding it around your neck if you're holding it. We have a camera mode switch. This will switch between being on the viewfinder versus the LCD. You can switch between those. Menu and info buttons, and then we have our D-pad and other controls on the side. Up here we have our shooting mode selector. Right now it's currently on video, but you can also switch it to various other photos, including there's nature, landscape, portrait mode, all types of things. On and off switch, obviously. And then we have our shoot button right here. Over here we have zoom in and zoom out. And then on the bottom, of course, we have our traditional camera mounting screw. And then if we open this up right here, this is the battery compartment. And over here on the side, we have the SD card slot. So that, and on the top here, this is a slot for the external microphone, should you want to include it. So that is, in a nutshell, an overview of the Canon T3i camera. If we turn it on, we can see a little bit more about the software that comes on here, the included menus and user interface. So let's turn the camera on. So here we go. It brings us up to the viewfinder, but we have menu. So we can go through movie mode. These are just various different video settings. You can do lighting, white balance, frame rate, resolution, image settings, and then we have power settings and things like that. All very, very standard stuff for a camera. It lacks some of the few modern features that I like. For example, some of my modern Sony cameras have a black and white filter. This does not have that. So, but overall, it's a pretty solid little camera, and includes all the settings that you could possibly need. Now, one of the most glaring drawbacks, I guess, of this camera, I would say, is the fact that this camera actually does not include an autofocus. That was not until the Canon T4i, the one that came after this one. This one lacks an autofocus. However, there is a way to get around it. By taking this shoot button, you can press it like this to snap your picture. Or what you can do is you can press it down halfway, and you hear that? You see that? That is it finding the focus for you. So it's not an autofocus. You do have to do it manually, but it will focus on whatever is in the middle of the frame. So it is kind of a pseudo autofocus. You do have to activate it manually, but once you activate it, it will focus for you. So that's kind of a brief overview of the Canon T3i. One of the reasons why I bought this, other than the fact that it was such a good deal, it was $130 for a working camera and 2 lenses, which I thought was pretty impressive. But it was just such a signature vlogging camera for the time. It was one of the most, at one point, it was one of the most popular vlogging cameras on YouTube. Back when mirrorless cameras really hadn't come as far as they are now, such as the Sony a7S or the Canon G7X. Those are some of the more popular cameras today, and they're mirrorless and they're easier to tote around. Those are the more popular vlogging cameras. But back then, those hadn't really come a long way. So you still had to use things like DSLRs, and they kind of sucked for carrying them around all day and everywhere. But when you wanted to put them on a tripod, they did record some pretty darn good video. So now that we've done kind of a brief overview of the Canon T3i, what I wanted to do was kind of like in my last camera review, I wanted to do some video tests with it. So after I get done and cut away, just know that for the rest of the video, all of the video that you're going to see is then captured through the T3i. So I just want to make sure that that's clear going forward. So let's go ahead and shoot some video tests with the Canon T3i. Okay, so this is a test of the camera under what I'm going to call normal light. I'm just sitting on the couch, and there's a ceiling light above me. As you can see, it takes a little bit with the, there's no autofocus, so you do have to lean in and sometimes manually do it. But you can see now that it actually works pretty good. So I'm actually kind of impressed. For 2011, the low light, because the light above me isn't the brightest, but for normal lighting conditions, it's actually not too bad. So yeah, this is what I'm going to call normal light test for the Canon T3i. So what I'm going to do now is go to a low light scenario so we can test that out. Okay, so this is a low light scenario. I'm sitting in the corner of the room. There is a lamp on, but it's all the way in the corner, and if the video looks anything like it does on the LCD screen right now, it actually is pretty impressive at not only how clear it is under low light, but I think it's substituting brightness in or trying to add some while it's recording the video. So it actually looks really good for low light. Obviously not the best, not like modern DSLRs, but not bad. So this is a low light test. Okay, so this is a test with the light pretty much right in front of me. I'm right in front of a lamp. So this is kind of what I imagine it would look like. I mentioned earlier you can use the HDMI port on the camera to plug into a capture card if you want, and use this as kind of like a higher end webcam if you want to do like Twitch streaming or something like that, which I think is a great use for a camera like this. So when you have something like that and you have external lights shining on you to make the face pop out so that it's not solely reliant on the monitor light, this is more what that's like, and it actually looks pretty decent. I'm pretty impressed. And what you'll notice is, with my face in the foreground, you notice how the background actually looks kind of blurred out to give you that depth of field effect. I actually think that's quite nice. So yeah. So that concludes my lighting tests for the Canon T3i. But what I wanted to do now was show you some pictures that I took with it to kind of show off its capabilities if you wanted to do some like photography. So what I'm going to do now is show you some pictures I took with it. And that's going to conclude my tests and overview of the Canon T3i. Please let me know down in the comments what you thought. I think it's still a very capable camera, even in the year 2022. It's 11 years old, and I think it still holds up today. So if you wanted to have a budget camera that's still capable of shooting some great content for YouTube, or whatever the case is, or if you want to use it as a webcam for Twitch streaming, I think it's a great option if you can get it at a good enough price. But let me know what you think down below, and let me know if you like this reviewing cameras content, and I'd be happy to make some more in the future. So, if you liked the video, please leave a like down below, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.